I was on my way to prison. I was on my way to having my children be adopted. And there was just a lot. And so I really felt like there was no hope at that point in time.
Hi, this is Alex with livinginthenews.com. And Jeannie, introduce yourself.
My name is Jeannie. I am a recovery mentor with Lifeways, and I am also a grateful person in long-term recovery.
So you and I talked a little bit before. Well, what I want you to do is tell us about where you were and what you had to overcome. Just give us a little bit about that.
Like I said, I'm a person in recovery currently, and my journey began several years ago when I fell into addiction with methamphetamines, marijuana, alcohol, and I got into a lot of terrible things, spiraled out of control, happened very quickly. And I ended up, after several years, losing my children. I was in trouble with the law. I've been on probation, been through jail a lot, and eventually I ended up in several treatment stays, inpatient, outpatient, and
So a lot of people know somebody, or some people have had the experience. Those were dark days for you, and I know that there are, just understanding what I understand, there's a real disconnect from logic and reality. And where was your head during that time, the best that you can describe it?
Yeah, it is definitely a wild experience. While I was, dove off deep into my addiction, it was a place obviously that I really never thought that I would be. And while I was there, it's just kind of like a whirlwind. The substance use had taken over everything else in my brain, and I just continued to, everything else went on the back burner in my life. And no matter how much I wanted to desperately hold on to those things, being a mother and all those things were very important to me, the substance took over, and slowly everything else started to fall apart. And so for me, it took a lot of intervention. Like I said, I've been in trouble a lot. I was on probation, DHS got involved, and I really needed a lot of help to get to that clarity. And so really, I think it was just these chunks of sobriety that I had that helped get me to a point where I could start using that logical part of my brain a little better. And I had little tastes of the life that I wanted to have back, on the other side of that. So
you said two things that I kind of want to talk about just for a moment. The one thing that you mentioned, and you didn't say it casually, but it almost felt casual, that the extreme of addiction and your children, that has to be a horrible, horrible place to be.
Yeah, it really was. It was the worst thing that I've ever gone through. And that battle is such a real and awful thing, and it's part of the reason why now I dedicate my job and my life to helping other people find their way through that.
Absolutely wonderful, and I want to talk about that in just a moment. But one other thing that you said is that one of the things that helped you, and I want you to kind of tell us what clicked, but one of the things you said was, basically you said little victories help you get to a place where you could be stronger. So kind of describe some of those things, and maybe up to the place where you said, I'm not this person anymore.
Yeah, I definitely had those little victories. Some of those for me were, like I said, those chunks of time where I had some sobriety.
How did you come across those chunks of time?
Thankfully, through the intervention of, because I really did. There were many times that I tried to do that on my own, and I could not do that on my own.
And I want to emphasize that many people think they can do it on their own. Yeah. And we'll get there, but I wanted to emphasize on that.
Yeah, and So I am very thankful. At the time I wasn't, but I'm very thankful now that I had intervention from police, from probation, from Department of Human Services. I am very grateful that I had those interventions, because they did give me those little victories, that little bits of time, help push me to treatment and things like that. That it could help me see that I could recover.
So we haven't talked about this before, so I'm hoping I'm not treading on very sensitive stuff, but all your interventions would be conceived as negative interventions. You didn't mention family, friends, or relatives or anything like that. So those negative interventions help save you.
Yes, and at the point that I was at, I didn't really have family. My friends were not good friends. And so, yeah, it was definitely I needed, personally for me, I know everybody's journey is different, but I needed those interventions that could be seen as negative. And now, at the time, I thought it was negative, and now I see it as a positive. So,
right.
Yeah,
right.
I had support through, I needed support from different types of places, different types of people.
Right. So now you've had some of those experiences. What maybe caused that click where you said, never again? And even though sometimes we say never again, there are bouts that you still fight and maybe falling off the wagon and things. Can you kind of take us there just a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely have had, my journey was long. From the time that I started trying to find recovery to the time that I actually did find recovery, I feel like it was about 3 years that I was in and out. I relapsed many times.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It really does take a lot, and I think that that's really important for people to know too, is that just because there's a relapse, or just because I actually look at that is something to build off of. That is something that that was beneficial to me, because now I look back on it and I've been able to build like a solid foundation from that, and knowing what isn't going to work for me and what is going to work for me.
So you do work for Lifeways, and I don't know if Lifeways is the organization that helped you or not, but you are now working for Lifeways. What is in Lifeways that can help those that maybe are struggling? Maybe they don't have anybody to help them. Maybe they think they can do it by themselves. Maybe, they're realizing that they're not strong enough to do it by themselves. What kind of programs or what kind of tools did you use, and what kind of tools are available to others?
It took a lot of different tools for me, like I said, to get to where I'm at. It took a lot of learning, and some of those things, I had been to inpatient treatment 3 times, and 2 of those times I went to Lifeways Recovery Center here in Ontario. I learned so much. It was so beneficial. I did relapse both times afterwards at some point in time, but not the fault of the treatment center. It just really was about me applying things and utilizing the things on the outside. It was a huge stepping stone for me. And Lifeways has pretty much everything that you're going to need, or will be able to direct you to the things that you need, connect you with those things. The outpatient services, I did outpatient services, and that was that stepping stone. And so for me, like I said, I've done inpatient treatment 3 times. The last time I got out of inpatient treatment, I went directly into outpatient services, enrolled the same day. I went into a sober living home where I was, on the kind of the next step. And I just continued with that level of accountability, being around clean and sober people, continuing my treatment as I transitioned into normal life. From there, I actually went into a recovery apartment. That was my own apartment, got my children back with me, still in a controlled environment. And actually, while I was still there, 2 years later, I ended up starting to work in the field in a treatment center. So, it just...
You answered a question that I was almost afraid to ask, but I was going to ask it anyway, about being able to get with your children again or have relationships with them again.
Yes, I was able to get my children back. It was a really close call. And it really just goes to show that, you know, with the proper support, I was able to get myself there. I also had to apply all that stuff myself. I had to utilize all the tools and all of the things. But the other side of that is that support, and that is what we're talking about with Lifeways and what Lifeways has to offer. If somebody utilizes those supports, including what I do as a recovery mentor, just being that support to walk with somebody alongside of them, you know, and share my own personal experience.
I tell people all the time, the best way to accomplish any goal is by holding somebody's hand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there had to have been a point where you thought you'd lost everything.
Oh yeah.
To a point that you're at today. You want to just kind of briefly talk about that?
Yeah, I definitely, it was November of 2017, and I had been to a lot of lows, a lot of bottoms, and that was a place that I truly didn't think that there was any hope to. I had been stretching this out for a long time, and I was, you know, there's a limit to how long kids can be in foster care. There's a limit to how long you can continue racking up, you know, charges and, you know, all these things before things start to get longer term. I was on my way to prison. I was on my way to having my children be adopted. And there was just a lot. And so I really felt like there was no hope at that point in time. And then thankfully, you know, I was able to get that spark given back to me and be able to continue that drive. And really, I'll tell you what it was is being around people in treatment, in outpatient and inpatient, peer support specialists like myself, that I saw people were able to overcome what they overcome. They shared their stories with me. They are obviously living these successful, happy lives without using substances and have been able to come on the other side of that. And that right there is what helped give me that drive and that push to know that if they can do it, so can I.
And you said something really important, because some that have never experienced this, they don't know.
Right.
They don't have a clue how to help you.
Yeah.
They just think, hey, buck it up, get going, get over it, don't worry about it. But those that have been there, they know. They've experienced, they know. So I want you to take a moment. I want you to look at somebody, and I want you to share what you want to share with them, coming from your heart. Go ahead and just...
Yeah, what I want everybody to know, anybody who may be going through something similar or has, you know, people in their lives that are going through something similar, there is definitely hope, not to give up hope, to, you know, continue trying, just keep trying. If you fall off the wagon, get back up, reach out. Sometimes it's really difficult, I know, because I've been there, but there are many services, there are many people that can help be that stepping stone, walk beside you, and if nothing else, you can always come down and see us. We're recovery mentors down here. You don't have to be enrolled in services to come talk to us. And you know, every one of us recovery mentors here, we have all different paths that we've taken, but we've all been through similar experiences. And so, you know, we listen without judgment. We have, you know, compassion and kindness towards, you know, what you're going through, and we're here for you.
Thank you. And they can just walk in for free.
Yes,
just come to
absolutely.
talk to you.
Yep.
All right. My hope is that if you are struggling, or you know someone else is struggling, consider Lifeways. Just give them a call or walk in and just see if there's help, hope, and a possibility of getting to the other side. Even though it might be a long journey and a hard journey, it's your story just is an amazing story, and you're a hero. You're absolutely a hero, and you're going to be a hero to your children. So way to go. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And thank all of you for watching livinghimnews.com.